Hello and welcome to another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. In each episode, we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. On this episode, we're continuing our look at Halloween movies as we take a look at the recently released Haunted Mansion starring Rosario, Dawson, and Owen Wilson. And stay tuned for a bonus story as we go into the Wayback Machine as we take a look at one of the original Disney shorts as we take a look at the skeleton dance. And if you are liking these videos, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified with each new episode. Now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. So like I said, today we are covering The Haunted Mansion. This movie was released on July 15th, 2023. It was directed by Justin Simeon. The screenplay was written by Kate Diepold. The production companies were Walt Disney Pictures and Rideback. And it was distributed by Walt Disney Studios. The budget for this movie was $150 million, and it did a box office return of $117.5 million. In terms of the production, in July of 2010, it was announced that Guillermo del Toro was developing a Haunted Mansion, and he was going to act as both the director and the producer. Del Toro stated that the movie would take place in a heightened reality and that the Hatbox Ghost would be one of the major characters in the film. It would be both a mixture of fun and scary, and it would be suitable for all audiences. In June of 2011, Imagineer Jason Sorrell would actually join the production as a creative consultant to help out because he was a noted historian for the ride and the history of the ride. Del Toro would submit a script in August of 2012, and this script actually had a PG-13 rating. In July of 2013, Del Toro would announce that he would no longer be the director, but he would still stay on as a producer of the film. In August of 2015, Ryan Gosling was in talks to be the star for this vehicle, and Disney also hired D.V. DeVincenz to rewrite the script. Further delays, and fast forward to August of 2020, it was announced that Kate Diepold would be rewriting the script as Del Toro's script was deemed to be too scary. Justin Simeon would be announced as the director on July 4th of 2021, and filming of the movie would begin on October 4th, 2021 in New Orleans, as well as one of the Disney studios in Atlanta. Chris Bowers would be hired to compose the score for the movie, and a soundtrack would be released on July 26, 2023. And in order to help promote the film, the cast actually would appear on Celebrity Family Feud. So let's take a look at the cast. So we have Lakeitha Steinfeld, who plays Ben Mateus, Tiffany Haddish, who plays Harriet, Owen Wilson, who plays Father Kent, Danny DeVito, who plays Bruce Davis, Rosario Dawson, who plays Gabby, Jamie Lee Curtis as Madame Leota, and Jared Leto as the Hatbox Ghost. In terms of the plot, in this frightening fun adventure inspired by the classic theme park ride, a doctor and her 9-year-old son are looking for a fresh new start when they move into a strangely affordable mansion in New Orleans, only to discover that a place is much more than they had bargained for. Desperate for help, they enlist a motley crew of so-called spiritual experts to help rid their home of the supernatural inhabitants, including a priest, a widowed scientist turned failed paranormal expert, and a French Quarter psychic and a crotchety professor. So in terms of recommending this movie, this one I was highly disappointed in, unfortunately. The movie is just way too long. The movie clocks in at just over 2 hours, and they probably could have cut 20 to 30 minutes of the movie to make this more enjoyable. The other problem is there are way too many characters. Not one character really has a character arc throughout the entire movie, and I think, unfortunately, this movie would have been better if it had just focused on maybe Rosario Dawson and her son and maybe 1 or 2 experts. But the fact is they have so many people in the house and each one has to get their stuff in that unfortunately it just makes it where the audience is not able to connect with any of the characters. In terms of the positives, I do really like the production design and the costuming. There's a lot of nods and Easter eggs to the original theme park attraction. So in terms of would I watch this one again, unfortunately, this is probably one that I will not be watching again. So let's move on to our bonus story as we talk about the skeleton dance. This short was released on August 22nd, 1929. It was written and directed by Walt Disney, and the production companies were Walt Disney Productions, and it was distributed by Columbia Pictures. In terms of the backstory, the start of this production can actually be traced back to mid-1928 when Walt Disney was in search of a new distributor for his Mickey Mouse cartoons, and he was traveling to New York to try and cut a deal to distribute Steamboat Willie. Disney would make a stopover in Kansas City to meet with his friend Carl Stalling, who Disney and him had worked together during the early days when Walt got his start in Kansas City. And he wanted to record the soundtrack with Carl Stalling for two Mickey Mouse shorts, Plain Crazy and The Galloping Gaucho. Disney would pitch Stalling an idea to create a soundtrack or a series of cartoons that would eventually be called the Silly Symphonies. And the first idea was a cartoon about dancing skeletons in a graveyard. The film would be animated mostly by Disney legend Ub Iwerks, and it was the whole entire short was completed in 6 weeks. The short would be distributed at the Carthay Circle Theater in Los Angeles, as well as the Fox Theater in San Francisco. The skeleton dance actually does have a legacy too, because it would appear in the video game Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two as well. So in terms of recommending the short, I think this is like one of those animation is art things. It's not scary, obviously. It's more kind of silly, but the art actually really holds up, and I love the whole digital transfer that they've done to Disney Plus. So you're able to watch it as if you were back in the theaters in 1929. So I would recommend this one, as it's a great way to check out where animation got its start, as well as the start of the Walt Disney Company with their animation short cartoons that they first created. So thank you so much for joining us here on another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. I would invite anyone to please leave a comment on what they thought of the recently rebooted Haunted Mansion, as well as if you've seen the skeleton dance. I would love for you to share any of your favorite memories. So as we look forward to our next episode, we're going to continue with our Halloween theme as we take a look at a modern horror remake, as we take a look at Fright Night starring Colin Farrell. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.